Some battles end on the battlefield. Others begin the moment you come home. Corporal David Cole thought his war was over. He had the scars, the medal, and the silence that followed years of service. But the call he received that night changed everything. A cold voice had said, "Someone doesn't want the truth getting out, and they're coming for you." Then the line went dead. David sat in his truck, staring at the dark road ahead. The Medal of Honor on his seat caught a faint glint of light, and somehow it didn't feel like pride anymore. It felt like a target. The next morning, David drove into town. He visited the old mechanic shop he used to work at before deployment, the one run by his late father. Inside, everything smelled like oil and memory. He opened the dusty toolbox and tucked the metal deep inside. Then he whispered, "Let them come." Moments later, his phone buzzed again. This time, a text. "Unknown number. Check your email. You were never supposed to survive Kandahar." David froze. His heart thudded. He opened his laptop, and what he saw nearly stopped his breath. On the screen were classified military reports, redacted names, coordinates, and one phrase repeated again and again: Operation Nightfall, status, compromise. At the bottom, an attached image. It showed the aftermath of the explosion that killed his unit. Except there was something wrong. He zoomed in. Among the rubble, a figure in uniform, alive, walking away. But it wasn't him. It was someone else. Someone he thought had died that night. Captain Mason Green, his commanding officer. The man whose order had sent 9 soldiers into an ambush. The man David had risked his life to save. The man the army said never made it out. David's hands shook. He played the attached video clip. Grainy, infrared, time-stamped the night of the attack. Mason was there, alive, speaking to someone outside the camera frame. The voice was faint, but David could make out the words. "Everything's in place. The explosion will cover it. No one will suspect." The footage ended with static. David whispered. He staged it. Then headlights flashed across his window. A black SUV pulled up outside his shop, the same kind of SUV General Reed used. But this one had no insignia. 2 men stepped out, dressed in dark suits. Not soldiers, not police, government. They didn't knock. They just opened the door. "Corporal Cole," one said calmly, "we need to talk." David stood still. "Who are you?" The man smiled. "People who keep things quiet." David's eyes narrowed. "Like Operation Nightfall?" The man's smile vanished. He exchanged a look with his partner, then reached into his coat pocket. David tensed, ready for anything. But instead of a weapon, the man pulled out an envelope. Thick, stamped, classified. "Read it," the man said. "You'll understand everything. But after tonight, you keep your mouth shut." They turned and left as quickly as they'd arrived. David opened the envelope. Inside were 3 documents: a declassified memo, a surveillance photo, and a signed letter. The memo confirmed it. Operation Nightfall was never an accident. It was a cover-up ordered by someone high in command. The photo was of Captain Mason Green shaking hands with a senator, and the letter was addressed to David. It read, "Stop digging, Corporal, or your next medal will be for silence." No signature, no rank, just power written in ink. David sat back in his chair, his chest heavy with anger and disbelief. He had given his loyalty, his blood, his brother's. And this was the truth behind the medal on his chest? He whispered to himself, "You buried my friends, and you've buried the truth." Then a sound, faint metallic. From the window, a red laser danced across his wall. David dug the ground just as the glass shattered. A single silent shot piercing the air. He crawled behind the counter, breathing hard. Whoever fired the shot wasn't trying to scare him. They were trying to erase him. He grabbed his father's old revolver from the drawer, loaded, heavy ready, and whispered, "You picked the wrong soldier." He crept to the side door, peered out, but the shooter was gone. Only the sound of an engine fading down the road. On the floor lay the envelope, torn open. The letter had fallen out, and on the back, another note, handwritten this time. "Meet me at 11 p.m., Pier 9. Bring the metal. Come alone. David clenched his jaw. Whoever sent that knew too much. He looked out into the night. The city lights flickered in the distance, and thunder rolled across the sky. He holstered his gun, grabbed the metal box, and whispered, "This time, I'm not running." But as he stepped out into the storm, a black SUV turned the corner again. Only this time, it wasn't empty. Inside, General Elena Reed sat in the passenger seat, watching. Her aide turned to her and said quietly, "Ma'am, should we intervene?" Reed's eyes stayed on David. "No," she said coldly. "Let's see how much he knows first." The SUV drove off into the rain, leaving David walking straight into the trap, waiting for him at the pier. He thought the truth would set him free. But some truths don't free you, they bury you. And by the time the clock strikes 11, not everyone will make it out alive. Because sometimes the real enemy doesn't wear another nation's flag. Sometimes it wears your own.